I'm going to sing a beautiful love song called Bridget Donoghue, and it was written by a man called Johnny Patterson. Now, when I was growing up in Ireland in the middle of the 20th century and listening to music on the radio, his name had been largely forgotten, but in fact he was the composer of some of the most popular songs of that time. Songs like Goodbye Johnny Dear and The Garden Where the Praties Grow, and perhaps his best loved song of all, The Stone Outside Dan Murphy's Door. I was to find out later that Johnny Patterson had been born not too far from where I grew up, in East Clare. I grew up in Limerick, and just over the River Shannon you get to East Clare, maybe about 15 miles from my home. And in the town, very close to the town of Fecal, which is a great bastion of traditional music to this day, there was a young man born into a blacksmithing family. His father was a blacksmith, Johnny Patterson, born in the year 1840. And he was apprenticed to the blacksmith trade, but his heart wasn't in it. He really wanted to be a musician, and eventually an uncle of his helped him to sign up with a military band. He became a drummer boy at the age of 14 in a military band that was based in Limerick. But then a circus came to town. He was fascinated with the circus, and he ended up paying his way out of the military and joining the circus. He ended up being a circus clown and telling jokes and being a raconteur, as well as, of course, as a clown. And the circus travelled around Ireland, and part of the circus was a bareback riding duo. They were a brother and sister act called Selina and James Hickey, and he fell madly in love with Selina and eventually married her when they were performing over in England. Ended up having 3 children with her. He became a very well-known circus clown and became known as the Rambler from Clare, which is the title of a great song that I also sing. Ended up going to America and became a star over there as well. Spent 9 years in America, and he performed with a variety of circuses and in very big theatres like Gilmore's Theatre, which is now Madison Square Garden in New York City. And he added to his repertoire of singing and dancing and composing and clowning the art of uilleann piping. Became a very competent uilleann piper and performed the uilleann pipes down on the Bowery, where popular American entertainment in New York really started. And he performed in the Theatre Comique, which was run by the most famous Irish-American duo at that time, Harrigan and Hart. He made a fortune in America, played all over the place, in cities like Chicago, St. Louis, Boston, Philadelphia, and of course New York. But eventually the pace grew too much for him, and he went back to Ireland at the age of 45 and reunited with Selina. That was kind of a mystery about their breakup. The 3 children reunited with the family, bought a house in Belfast, and continued to be a circus star. Mysteriously, Selina ended up dying penniless in a workhouse in Belfast. Not much is known about that. But anyway, he remarried shortly. A woman called Bridget, not Bridget Donoghue, but a woman called Bridget Murray that he met in a hotel, and he sang a song to her in the first gig that she attended, and that did the trick. He performed all over Ireland and eventually was in Tralee one night. Now, living in Belfast, he would be of the Home Ruler persuasion at that time, following Charles Stewart Parnell, on the path to a peaceful democratic transition to Home Rule. But that was not the politics of many people in Ireland at that time. They were tired of being colonised, and they were militant. And according to the story, after singing a fairly pacifist type song of his own composition in Tralee, there was a big melee, and according to some reports he was hit over the head by an iron bar. That may or may not have happened. That's a generally accepted story. One way or the other, he ended up in a hospital in Tralee and died, maybe of natural causes, but most probably from the effects of the blow, and he said. He's remembered today mostly through those songs I mentioned, and one of my favourite songs is the one that I'm going to sing now for you, Bridget Donoghue, which he wrote when he was in New York. And joining me in this song is the wonderful Hayley Richardson in North Carolina, Brenda Castles, the great concertina player from County Meath, now living in Dublin, and a special treat for me, singing harmony in this, is a woman I used to be performing a lot with in England and in Ireland back in the 1960s. We were a part of a famous group called the Johnstons. We haven't recorded, I think, in 51 years. So she's decided to come out of retirement and sing the harmony in Bridget Donoghue. Lucy Johnston. Bridget Donoghue. 'Twas in the county Kerry, not many miles from Clare, where the boys and girls are merry at a pattern racer fair. The town is called Kilorglin, a pretty place to view, but what makes it interesting is my Bridget Donoghue. Oh, Bridget Donoghue, I really do love you. Although I'm in America, to you I will prove true. Bridget Donoghue, I tell you what I'll do. Just take the name of Patterson and I'll take Donoghue. Her father is a farmer, a decent man is he, and he's known by everybody from Kilorglin to Tralee. And Bridget on a Sunday, when coming home from Mass, should the people all admire her, they stop to see her pass. Oh, Bridget Donoghue, I really do love you. Although I'm in America, to you I will prove true. Bridget Donoghue, I'll tell you what I'll do. Just take the name of Patterson and I'll take Donoghue. I sent her home a picture, I did upon my word. Not a picture of myself, but a picture of a bird. It was the American eagle, and says I, Miss Donoghue, our eagle's wings are large enough to shelter me and you. Bridget Donoghue, I really do love you. Although I'm in America, to you I will prove true. Bridget Donoghue, I tell you what I'll do. Just take the name of Patterson and I'll take Donoghue. 'Twas in the county Kerry, not many miles from Clare, where the boys and girls are merry at a pattern razor fair. The town is called Kilorglin, a pretty place to view, but what makes it interesting is my Bridget Donoghue. Bridget Donoghue, I really do love you. Although I'm in America, to you I will prove true. Bridget Donoghue, I'll tell you what I'll do. Just take the name of Patterson and I'll take Donoghue.